But passing my plan is not the end. It's just the beginning of what we have to do. We know we need to create jobs, but not just any jobs. We need to create jobs that sustain families and sustain dreams, jobs in new and growing industries, jobs that don't feel like a dead end, but a way forward and a way up, jobs that will foster a vibrant and growing middle class, because the strength of our economy can be measured directly by the strength of our middle class. That's why I've created the Task Force on Middle-Class Working Families, and why I've asked my Vice President, Joe Biden, to lead it. There is no one who brings to bear the same combination of personal experience and substantive expertise. Joe's come a long way and has achieved a great deal, but he's never forgotten his roots as a working-class kid from Scranton, Pennsylvania. He's lived the American dream and lived and worked to make that dream a reality for others. This task force will bring together my economic advisors and members of my cabinet to focus on policies that will really benefit the middle class. Policies to create jobs that pay well and provide a chance to save, to create jobs in growing fields and train workers to fill them, to ensure that workplaces are safe and fair, as well as flexible for employees juggling the demands of work and family. And I think I should note that when I talk about the middle class, I'm talking about folks who are currently on the middle class, but also people who aspire to be in the middle class. We're not forgetting the poor. They are going to be front and center because they too share our American dream. And we're going to make sure that they can get a piece of that American dream if they're willing to work for it. I also believe that we have to reverse many of the policies towards organized labor that we've seen these last 8 years, policies with which I've sharply disagreed. I do not view the labor movement as part of the problem. To me, it's part of the solution. We need to level the playing field for workers and the unions that represent their interests, because we know that you cannot have a strong middle class without a strong labor movement. We know that strong, vibrant, growing unions can exist side by side with strong, vibrant, and growing businesses. This isn't an either-or proposition between the interests of workers and the interests of shareholders. That's the old argument. The new argument is that the American economy is not and has never been a zero-sum game. When workers are prospering, they buy products that make businesses prosper. We can be competitive and lean and mean and still create a situation where workers are thriving in this country. So I'm going to be signing 3 executive orders designed to ensure that federal contracts serve taxpayers efficiently and effectively. One of these orders is going to prevent taxpayer dollars from going to reimburse federal contractors who spend money trying to influence the formation of unions. We will also require that federal contractors inform their employees of their rights under the National Labor Relations Act. Federal labor laws encourage collective bargaining, and employees should know their rights to avoid disruption of federal contracts. And I'm issuing an order so that qualified employees will be able to keep their jobs even when a contract changes hands. We shouldn't deprive the government of these workers who have so much experience in making government work. And we need to keep our energy focused and our eyes fixed on the real measure of our prosperity, the success of folks that Joe and I have met across this country who are working hard each and every day. I'm eager to see this task force in action. I'm eager to discuss its findings with Joe Biden and working with the people in this room. I intend to get this economy on track to create the jobs of the future and to make sure that the American people can achieve their dreams, not just for themselves, but for their children. So with that, let me introduce our chair of our Middle Class Task Force, my Vice President, and the pride of Delaware, Joe Biden.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President, for that generous introduction. It's a pleasure to see all of you here today. We as we announced this task force on the middle class. Folks, I want to thank the outstanding individuals, many of whom are in this room, members of Congress, members of labor, members of business, interest groups that are here representing nonprofits. I want to thank you all for being here today. It's good to see so many of my friends from our friends from organized labor as well. Welcome back to the White House. You know, one of the things that all of us in this room know is those very leaders, Mr. President, of organized labor have dedicated their lives to the thing that this task force is about, making the lives of working people better. I would argue there would be no middle class were there not an organized labor movement that started 150 years ago. And I'm proud that this administration, with your leadership, Mr. President, will be allied in that effort. And I want to thank you for convening and empowering this task force, Mr. President. In doing so, I think you send a very, very clear signal to everyone in this country who goes to work every day without expecting a claim or big bonuses, the people that President Teddy Roosevelt referred to as the doers of deeds, the men and women who teach our children, who protect our neighborhoods, who build our homes, staff our hospitals, work on the line, all those people. To this, the great American middle class, you have simply said, we're on your side again. And it's that basic from my perspective. And so for too many years, we've had a White House that has failed to put the American middle class at the front and center of our economic policies. And even when our economy was growing, there was and it was very solid ground on which to build. The middle class found itself slipping. Productivity went up almost 20% between 2000 and 2007, yet income for working families fell by $2,000 a year. And now with our economy struggling, the pain is significantly worse. Trillions of dollars in home equity, retirement savings, college savings gone. And every day, more and more Americans are losing their jobs. And for many people, the work of a lifetime has literally disappeared. It's cruel, but it's threatening to sap the spirit of the country. Mr. President, you said it best in your inaugural address, in my view. You said, and I quote, "A nation cannot prosper long when it favors only the prosperous." Quite simply, a strong middle class, in our view, equals a strong America.